God, the author of evil. From the Berean Christadelphian magazine, September 1927 issue, page 407. God, the author of evil. God is certainly the author of evil. He himself declares it. Isaiah 45:7, Amos 3:6, Jeremiah 45:5. He is the author of evil in a sense in which he is not the author of sin. For sin is the wrong use of independent power conferred upon a creature, and of this he is not the author. But of the evil inflicted in punishment thereof, he is the author direct. But then, says the objector, James has said, God cannot be tempted with evil. This is not out of harmony with the other truth. He does not deal in evil for the love of it. Evil presents no attraction to him that he should inflict it for the mere sake of it, or draw men by temptation into the channel of it. He is good and good only, but he inflicts the evil on rebellion, and this indeed is part of his goodness. Be kind to the unthankful and the evil. From Seasons of Comfort, Volume 1, by Brother Robert Roberts, pages 41 to 42. Be kind to the unthankful and the evil. There is one commandment I should like to mention, a commandment having relation to many others, and one which Christ repeats several times and in various ways. Be kind to the unthankful and the evil, and which he also puts into another form, whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister. And again, he that humbleth himself shall be exalted, but whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased. In this he points to his own example, saying, If I, your Lord and Master, take such an attitude, much more may ye. That is a distinct and imperative commandment, as much so as baptism. And the reason why it is necessary to emphasize it is that we are so liable to overlook and act in opposition to it. It goes so much against the grain of the natural man. The commandments not to steal, not to lie, not to commit fornication are such as a man's own sense of honor would help him to abide by. But to be kind to the unthankful and the evil is something opposed to all natural feeling and contrary to the moral philosophy of the world. There is nothing more usual than to hear persons justifying unkindness on the ground that the object of it is unworthy. Someone is in need. The need is not denied, but it is said that the man is undeserving, and this is accepted as a reason why assistance should be refused. Someone asks a favor who has proved ungracious in former transactions, and this is made the ground of refusal. Someone is ill, who his health was savorless, useless, and perhaps hurtful, and goodness is denied on this ground. A complaining widow is neglected because she refreshes not the soul. These things ought not so to be. We are in such matters to act from allegiance to Christ and not from our own taste. We are to minister because he has commanded us so to do, and not because it is sweet to do it. It is our discipline, and though oft times bitter, sweetness will come even now from being kind to the unthankful and the evil. Abhorrence of corrupt communications. From Be Ye Transformed, Volume 1, by Brother Gilbert, Growcott, pages 45 to 46. Abhorrence of corrupt communications. Paul says, counseling against another evil, Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. Here again, let us not just take a shallow view and brush this off as a quite unnecessary caution in our case. True, we are happily free from the coarse and lewd conversation that seems to be the principal obsession of this degenerate, Sodom-like generation. But what constitutes a corrupt communication in God's sight? The contrast in this passage is, "but that which is good to the use of edifying," implying that what is not good to the use of edifying is corrupt. We are impressed, again, with a broad principle, "whatsoever is not of faith is sin," Romans 14:23. Even among our words, there are no neutrals. Either we are consciously and purposely edifying, or we are corrupting and breaking down, whether it be intentional or not. And what are we to do as to the filthy conversation of the wicked? We must be ever on guard not to be drawn into the world's foolish talk, for it so often turns to filthiness or godlessness, and we find ourselves in a humiliating and compromised position as a part of their corrupt picture. Even silence is hardly a sufficient witness, for chattering buffoons thoughtlessly take it for consent. Gently but very firmly, we must make our abhorrence of corrupt communications clear. Sin, twofold sense of the term. From the Berean Christadelphian magazine, May 1927 issue, pages 235 to 236. Sin, twofold sense of the term. The word sin is used in two principal acceptations in the scripture. It signifies in the first place the transgression of law, and in the next it represents the physical principle of the animal nature, which is the cause of all its diseases, death, and resolution into dust. It is that in the flesh which has the power of death, and it is called sin, because the development or fixation of this evil in the flesh was the result of transgression. Inasmuch as this evil principle pervades every part of the flesh, the animal nature is styled sinful flesh, that is, flesh full of sin, so that sin, in the sacred style, came to stand for the substance called man. In human flesh dwells no good thing, Romans 7:18-17, and all the evil a man does is a result of this principle dwelling in him, Romans 7:18-17. Operating upon the brain, it excites the propensities, and these set the intellect and sentiments to work. The propensities are blind, and so are the intellect and sentiments in a purely natural state. When, therefore, the latter operate under the sole impulse of the propensities, the understanding is darkened through ignorance, because of the blindness of the heart. Ephesians 4:18. The nature of the lower animals is as full of this physical evil principle as the nature of man, though it cannot be styled sin with the same expressiveness, because it does not possess them as the result of their own transgression. The name, however, does not alter the nature of the thing.